So while we're waiting for some people to show up, there's one piece of equipment that we need besides our weight, besides a kettlebell or a dumbbell. We need a towel, something you can stand with your heels elevated. So like a nice, decent sized towel that you can fold up a whole bunch of times, or if you have, you know, something that is elevated about 2 inches, inch and a half, that you can put your heels on while we do our narrow stance heels elevated squats. So if you have something like that available to you, great. If you don't, I would say go grab a towel, and that's something that I find to be, you know, helpful when we do that movement. Or two, and then we'll go ahead and get started.
AUS audio.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, it's 34 after. I reposted the programming for today on the chat. So if you want to take a look at it, let's take a look at it. Again, the one thing that we need that's not our normal weight is we need a towel, or something else that we can fold up several times, because we're going to do those heels elevated narrow stance squats that we've done before in the past. If your microphone isn't muted, please go ahead and mute it, because there's a whole bunch of noise right now. Awesome, thank you. So again, we just need a single kettlebell or a single dumbbell, and then also something that we can use to elevate our heels for the first part of our strength training today. All right. So we're going to do a dynamic warm-up like we always do, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So let's stand with our feet under our hips. Big deep breath in. We're going to bring our arms over our head. Let it out. Hinge at the hips. Come down into a forward fold. Let's just hang out here for a second. Get a good hamstring stretch. Another big deep breath in. Let it all the way out. From here, I'm going to walk myself out to the bottom of my push-up. I'm going to drive my chest up, not pushing with my arms very much, but I'm driving my chest up, lifting it off the floor. We're gonna do our low cobra. Back down. Again, another low cobra. Back down. And then one more. And from here, I'm gonna put my toes down. We're gonna transition into our down dog. Let's slowly walk our hands all the way back to our feet. Stand up nice and slow. All right, beautiful. Let's get into some squats. So we're gonna do squats for about 30 seconds. Let's get our first couple squats. Come all the way down to the bottom, push those knees out. Let's hang out down here for a couple seconds. All right, and then back up. All right, let's get a little tempo going. And time. We're gonna do alternating lunges. Again, for 30 seconds. Nice big step forward. Let that back knee touch. Drive yourself up. We're gonna do our single leg deadlift. So I'm gonna balance on one leg. So I'm gonna balance on my left leg. I'm gonna come down with my right arm. Touch the floor and up. And then switch, right leg, left arm. Right? Trying to keep that neutral spine. All right. The last thing we're gonna do for our warm-up is we're gonna do our deadlift jump. So I'm gonna hinge at the hips, have my hands touch the floor, and then I'm gonna explode up and jump. All right, so we're gonna do that for 30 seconds. All right, and time. So, hopefully you're nice and warm. I got a good sweat going. Let's briefly take a look at today's programming. So, let's pull up the chat. Let's look at today's programming. This should be all stuff, for the most part, we're familiar with, for the most part. All right, so we have 3 sets of a 15 reps of a narrow stance, heels, elevated squat, right? And so we've done these before in the past. This is where we need some object to keep our heels elevated, meaning like a towel, a bumper plate, whatever it is you have that you can stack, that's gonna give you about 1.5 inches of elevated heels. And we do this because it really focuses this movement on our quads. Not that squats aren't already quad dominant, but doing it with the heels elevated really, really targets those quads. And you'll, if you've done these before, you know that. So we're gonna do 15 narrow stance, heels elevated goblet squats. I didn't write the goblet, but you know, I think we should all just assume that it's gonna be weighted. I think that's gonna be too high, Elaine. And then from there, we're gonna go into 5 pulse squats, and I'll go over that, but it's exactly like it sounds. We're gonna just be pulsing up and down, not fully extending at the knee. So we probably won't get more than 3/4 of the way out of the squat before we go all the way back down. So let me just demo the whole thing. We'll field whatever questions you guys have, and then we'll go ahead and get started. I've got my towel right here. All right. So put my heels on the towel, so I'm slightly elevated. I'm gonna do my 15 heels elevated goblet squats. My knees they don't have to be pointed straight forward. They wanna be pointed in, more or less in the direction of your toes. But again, our feet are more narrow than we would for our regular squat. So my knees are pointing in the same direction as my toes. My feet are more elevated. My heels are, feet are more narrow. My heels are elevated. So I'm gonna do my 15 squats, 13, 14, 15. On my 15th one, I'm gonna come all the way down, and I have my 5 pulse squats. So I'm gonna come all the way down to the bottom. I'm gonna come up about 3/4 of the way, back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then all the way up, okay? So it's gonna be 20 squats in total, 15 of the heels elevated, narrow stance, and then 5 still heels elevated, still narrow stance, but we're just gonna pulse up and down. Again, we don't get more than about 3/4 of the way out of that squat, so we don't fully lock out. We're not gonna rest to the top. It's just up and down, up and down, up and down for 5 reps. Before we get started, let's field whatever questions you guys have, and also maybe just get a couple, even just air squats in the setup that you have, just so you can see how it feels, and then let me know, you know, if that feels okay. All right, very nice, very nice. Are there any questions before we get started? You know, if you have options when it comes to the weight that you have, you know, obviously we want to go as heavy as we can go while still maintaining good form, right? So if you have the option, go as heavy as you can while still maintaining good form. Are there any questions before we get started? No? All right, beautiful. All right, let's go ahead and grab our weight. And let's knock out our 15 heels elevated, narrow stance, goblet squats. And then on your 15th one, stand all the way up. And then 5 pulse squats, where we're just pulsing up and down at about, you know, all the way to the bottom to up to about 3/4 of the way to the top. Nice, Miho. Try to come a little bit higher out of that pulse squat. So like almost to the top, but obviously not all the way to the top. We don't want to lock out. right, very nice. Looks like everybody's done. We're gonna rest a little bit and then do it again. We want to take about 60 seconds to 90 seconds in between sets. So I have a clock going, but if you want to get started before I say get started, that's okay. But again, we have about 20 seconds before we start our next set. Hot coffee and a hot day, my favorite. All right, that was our rest. Let's get another set in. Oh. Even without too much weight, that starts to get some really good lactic acid burn in those legs. That's good. A beautiful day. It's awesome. Yesterday was like May gray all day long. Today is gorgeous. I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to the news, but I'm hoping this is going to be one of the last weekends we're doing Power Hour just on Zoom. It'd be great to start getting inside the gym. All right, we got 20 seconds. 20 seconds, and we'll start our last set. All right, last set, you guys. Let's do it. Last set. $15 narrow stance, heels elevated squats, right into those 5 pulse squats. Very nice. Great work, Cook family. All right, when you're done, grab a sip of some water. Let's pull up today's chat, and we can see the next little circuit. Again, these are movements, for the most part, we've done, although I don't know if we've done that second one in class, but it's kind of a combination of 2 movements that we're familiar with. So again, it shouldn't be that big a deal. But it's going to be 8 to 10, depending on the weight that you have. You know, some of you guys have some weight that doing 8 is going to be sufficient. Some of you 10, you know, would probably be more appropriate because you don't have as heavy a weight. But it's going to be 8 to 10 single arm floor press. We're going to be on our hip thrust position, and I'll explain that and I'll demo it. But we're going to be at the top of that hip thrust position, performing our single arm floor press, and it's going to be 8 to 10 each arm. From there, we're going to stand up and we're going to do a single arm Romanian deadlift. At the bottom of that deadlift, we're going to perform a single arm bent row and then come to the top. Again, 2 movements we should be fairly familiar with. We're just kind of combining the 2, but I'll demo them right now, and then we'll field whatever questions you guys have, okay? So. First of all, our floor press from the hip thrust position. So I'm gonna lay down flat. Heels are about hip width, and they're close to my butt. So I'm gonna get into my floor press position, right? So I'm ready to perform a floor press, but I'm gonna drive my hips up. So I'm in my hip thrust, and from here, I'm gonna perform my 8 to 10 press, right? I'm pressing the same time, I'm driving those hips up, I'm driving through those heels, activating those hamstrings and glutes, really trying to open that hip joint as much as I can. I'm gonna perform 8 to 10 press, set the weight down, bring it to the other side. Again, get into my floor press position, drive those hips up. So I'm really pushing through my heels, and I have just my shoulders on the floor. Everything else is driving to the ceiling, and I'm gonna perform my floor press. From there, I'm gonna do a single arm Romanian deadlift, right? So I'm starting at the top. I have the weight in one arm. I'm gonna unlock my knees. I'm gonna hinge at the hips. Again, I'm creating some internal pressure because I don't want this weight to pull me to the side, right? So I'm coming down to the bottom. I'm gonna perform a single arm row and then back to the top, right? So from the side, feet are under my hips, knees are unlocked. I'm gonna hinge at the hips, row, back up, right? I really wanna make sure I'm not allowing that weight to alter my body position, right? So I don't want to be at the bottom of my row and be here, right? I don't want those shoulders rolled to one side. I want, as if you could place like a yoga block onto my back and it would stay there. From here, I'm going to perform my row and then back up. So 1, 2, 3, and so on. I like having my other hand parallel with the hand that's doing the work because it lets me know, right, if I'm kind of out of whack, if I'm off balance. So now that we've seen the movement, do we have any questions? Again, 8 to 10, go ahead.
So for the floor press, is the heel only, so should my toes be off, or are we only
I prefer to have my heels down and my toes slightly elevated because it really makes sure that I'm activating those hamstrings and glutes. If I have my feet flat on the floor, there's a tendency for me to want to push through the balls of my feet, and that can start becoming more of a quad dominant, and we want it to activate the hamstrings and glutes. So I prefer it. I prefer that, but you don't have to, but I prefer doing that. I feel like it's more effective. Any other questions?
Can you do another example of just one set of like the Romanian deadlift into the
bent row?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll do it from a couple different angles. So
okay.
You guys let me know. So the movement starts at the top. So I'm gonna grab my weight, starting at the top. My feet are under my hips. My knees are unlocked. From here, I'm gonna perform a Romanian deadlift. But at the bottom of that deadlift, right? So I'm gonna hinge at the hips. The bottom of that deadlift, I'm gonna row. Bring the arm back down and then come back up. Again, hinge, row, down, and then back up. So from the side. So, you know, it's a Romanian deadlift. So again, I don't want a whole lot of knee bend, right? My knees are unlocked and they don't bend a whole lot more from here, right? This is the Romanian deadlift movement. This is the bench row movement. And we're just combining the two. So I'm gonna come down nice and controlled. I'm gonna row. Elbow stays into my side. I'm pulling that weight to the top of my hip. Back down, and then back up, right? And that'll be one rep. Was that okay, April? Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay, good. Good, you guys are so good. You guys pick up on everything so fast. All right, so 8 to 10 single arm floor press. I think it's easier to get into that floor press position. And then before you push that weight up, drive those hips up, get into that hip thrust position, and then start performing your floor press. So lay down flat, heels are about hip width, heels are close to our butt, right? Have that weight in one arm. We're creating some interthoracic pressure. We're squeezing those abs, and then we're gonna drive those hips to the ceiling, driving through those heels. And perform your floor press from there. 8 to 10. If your weight is light, go 10. If it's heavy, go 8. And it's going to be 8 to 10 on each side. These are movements that should be done under control, right? Doing them really fast, you're not going to really get the most out of it. We want these to be nice and controlled. I would say fairly slow movements where you have control of the weight the whole time, and you know, and you kind of can feel this weight. You can feel that movement.
Sorry, so you stand up after each row, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I was doing it.
Yes, you were doing it correct. Yeah, we want to hinge at the hips, right? So a Romanian deadlift at the bottom, perform that row, and then back up. And be you know, pay attention to your posture. Pay attention to whether those shoulders are one side or the other, you know. This is a challenging movement, especially if you're using heavy weight. But I'm not saying don't use heavy weight. Use weight that's challenging, but it's something that to be done correctly, we want to, you know, kind of pay attention to our posture and whether we're being pulled to one side or another. Let's make sure we keep a nice neutral spine when we perform that Romanian deadlift and that bent row, right? We don't want any rounding of our back. Want that back nice and flat. Those erector muscles along our spine are activated. Again, we're going to take about 60 to 90 seconds in between each set. You know, if you're doing 10 reps each side, this is 40 reps per set. You know, hopefully we have weight that's heavy enough where this is challenging. There you go. Drive through those heels, mijo. Push those hips all the way to the ceiling. Don't be satisfied with just being in the position. Let's be active. We're driving through those heels. We're activating those glutes. I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking to everybody. Sorry. Yeah, I'm talking to everybody, not just mijo. All right, when you're in that hip thrust position, again, don't be just satisfied with just being in that position. Be active, right? You should feel those glutes starting to burn, right? We're holding that position for a considerable amount of time, right? We're activating those glutes and hamstrings. We should feel those muscles working. Nice, Catalina. That's perfect. Very nice, Elaine. Very nice, Elizabeth. When you're done with your second round, give yourself a little bit of some rest. Again, grab some water, give yourself a break. Whenever your rest time is over, we'll perform our third set. All right, let's make our last set our best set. Really take the time to feel this movement. Make sure you're driving through those heels, those hamstrings and glutes are activated, and that we couldn't possibly get our hips any higher, right? We're driving those hips as high as we can while we are doing our floor press nice and controlled, right? Very nice, Hanan. All right, so it looks like most of you guys are done. A couple people are still working, so just keep working. All right, we're just gonna hang tight for a little bit. If you're still working, finish your set, all right? I don't wanna rush anyone. Everybody who's still working, take your time, finish your set. If you're done, just hang tight for a little bit. We're just gonna take a couple minutes and wait for everybody to catch up. And then we've got a core circuit that was a special request by Miho. So we're gonna do this core circuit that I know she was really dying to do. She had been asking me about it, and I talked about it numerous times. So
Lies, it wasn't me.
This is Miho's. We actually call this the Miho. Man, this week flew by. I mean, I know it was a short week because of Memorial Day, but I felt like it was like Friday before I knew it. Not that I'm complaining, but it definitely flew by. All right, beautiful. So it looks like everybody is done with our third circuit, or third set. So let's take a look at the core circuit for today. Let's pull it up. It's something we have done numerous times in Power Hour. It definitely will require some explanation, but I'll demo it and we'll field whatever questions you have. But it's going to be 8 rounds of a 15-second hollow hold or hollow position, all right? And you don't have to be familiar with that. I'll demo it. We'll talk about it. From there, we're going to immediately go into a 30-second plank. So I'm going to say plank, right? I'm going to tell you hollow hold. You're going to hold your hollow position for the 15 seconds. When I say plank, you're just going to immediately roll over and get into your plank, right? Don't wait for me to say start or anything like that. No need for me to do that. You're literally going to go hollow position directly into your plank, okay? We're going to hold the plank for 30 seconds, and then we're going to rest for 15 seconds. So each round is going to take 1 minute, right? 15-second hollow hold, 30-second plank, 15-second rest. So let me demo that, and then we'll do it, right? So the hollow hold or a hollow position, I really like starting this position by curling up into a tight little ball. So if you look at me right now, my hips are pulled off the floor and my shoulders are pulled off the floor. And it's really important that throughout your hollow position, your hips and your shoulders are pulled off the floor. The only thing in contact is my lumbar, right? My low back. It's the only thing in contact with the floor. From here, I'm going to extend into my hollow position here, right? Shoulders are still pulled off the floor. I'm trying as best I can to pull those hips off the floor, right? And this is going to be my hollow hold. I'm pointing my toes. My bicep is in line with my ear. So my biceps are touching my ears. And I'm going to hold this position for 15 seconds, right? If I feel that I'm holding this position and all of a sudden I lose that and there's this gap, right? That gap that we all have that's right here. We don't want that. We don't want that gap to appear. So I want to maintain that hollow position. I can't put my hand where that low back goes. If I get to a place where I can't hold this anymore, I need to start bringing one leg in, the other leg in, maybe both legs in again, but I'm still maintaining that hollow position hold. My shoulders are pulled off the floor, right? So I hold it for my 15 seconds. I'm gonna immediately roll over into my plank. I'm gonna do my plank in the top of a push-up position. And again, I'm mimicking that hollow position, right? I'm not giving myself that sway back that we have. I'm gonna tuck my hips under. I'm squeezing my abs, squeezing my glutes, and I'm mimicking that hollow position, holding that plank. And then I'm gonna rest. All right, so 15-second hollow hold, 30-second plank, and then 15 seconds of rest. And then repeat, all right? So there's gotta be some questions. I would imagine there's some questions. Let's have them.
Only 8 rounds, Colin. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, normally, you know, we would do 10 normally, but I wanted to be merciful.
Shut it, Elaine.
I know Elaine normally likes it when we do abs in the beginning of the workout and then abs at the end of the workout. We're just doing abs at the end of the workout. So, but I promise you, as soon as we get power hour inside the gym, we'll do a double abs. We'll do ab warm up, ab at the end. Legs, finishers, whatever you want. It's gonna be amazing. Any other questions though? No? Okay. Hopefully you guys are familiar with this hollow position, that hollow hold. If you've ever done the power hour class, we do stuff like this pretty often. So you're the only one that's going to be able to tell whether that lumbar is in contact with the ground or not, right? And if you feel like you're losing that position, I really ask that you start bringing one leg in and then the other leg, start alternating legs so that you can maintain that position. If you're not holding that position for the 15 seconds, you're really not getting as much out of it as you need to be. All right. So that being said, let's get the old timer set up. And it starts going pretty fast. So kind of just be ready to go from that hollow position, plank, rest. Hollow position, plank, rest. Because again, like I said, it starts moving a little fast. All right, no other questions before we get started? All right. So let's roll onto our back. Let's curl up into that tight little ball. We're gonna get into our hollow position in 3, 2, 1, and hollow hold. Keep holding. Keep holding, pointing those toes, squeezing those abs in 3, 2, 1. Let's get into that plank. All right, 30-second plank, squeezing those abs, squeezing those glutes. Remember, we want to mimic that hollow position. So we're not just holding on to the ground for dear life. We're being very active. Right? We're very active. We're squeezing those abs. We're in a position of strength. And rest. Good. Rest. Round 1 done. Round 1 done. Just hang tight. All right, let's get ready. Curl up into that tight little ball in 3, 2, 1. Hollow hold. Good. Pulling those shoulders off the floor, squeezing those abs, pointing those toes, active. In 3, 2, 1, plank. Good. Get into that plank position. Again, mimicking that hollow position, right? The butt is a little bit, you know, tucked under. We're squeezing those abs. Our torso is in that, again, that hollow position, just like we were when we were facing up. Come on, keep holding it. We got 5 seconds. Nobody drops. 3, 2, 1, rest. Just remember, I can see all of you. If you don't do it for the whole 30 seconds, I'm watching. All right, let's get ready. Another hollow position in 3, 2, 1, hollow position. And again, if you can't hold the whole 15 seconds, that's okay. Bring one leg in, bring the other leg in. Just keep those shoulders pulled off the floor. Let that torso mimic. And plank. Get into that plank, right? Nice and active. We're pushing the floor away from ourselves. We're squeezing those abs. We're squeezing those glutes. Almost there. We got 10 seconds, you guys. Keep holding. Keep holding. Nobody drops. In 5, 3, 2, 1, rest. Very nice. Very nice. All right, let's get ready. Hollow position and extend. Come on, we're on our 4th round. We just started our 4th round. We're doing good. Keep holding. Keep holding in 3, 2, 1, and plank. Beautiful. Get into that plank. Good. Push the floor away from yourself. Squeeze those abs. Squeeze those glutes. We're active, right? We're not just holding on for dear life, but we're in a strong position. 10 seconds. Keep holding. Keep holding. 5, 3, 2, 1, rest. Guess what? We're halfway there, you guys. We've done 4 rounds. We got 4 more. Unless Miho gives me the signal, we'll do 10 rounds. She has a secret signal. That's it. That's a secret signal. Good, 10 rounds. I'm just joking. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hollow position. Beautiful. Come on, extend. Point those toes. Our biceps should be in line with our ears. We're active. Plank in 3, 2, 1, and plank. All right, everybody's doing strong work. Keep holding. We got 10 seconds. Keep holding. Squeezing those abs, squeezing those glutes. Do not drop. We only got 5 seconds. Don't drop. And rest. 5 down, 3 left, right? We're over that hump. 5 down, 3 to go. Come on, you guys. We can do this. We can do this. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and hollow hold. Good, pulling those shoulders off the floor, active. And plank. Good, roll over. Come on, get into that plank position. I'm watching you. "15 seconds. Come on, anybody can do a plank for 15 seconds. Keep holding, we got 10. Keep holding. 5, don't drop, nobody drops. And rest. 2 rounds left, you guys, 2 rounds left. Come on, last 2 rounds, let's make them good. Hollow position in 3, 2, 1, and go. Come on, we're almost there. Keep holding, and plank. Come on, we're pushing the floor away from ourselves. We're squeezing those abs. We're squeezing those glutes. We're being nice and active and strong. We got 10 seconds, everybody. 10 seconds. Keep holding. Keep holding. 5. Nobody drops. Keep holding. Keep holding. And rest. All right. Coming up on our last round. Last round. This is it. All right, 5 seconds. Let's get ready. 3, 2, 1. Hollow hold. Come on, this is our last one. Last best, you guys. Let's do this. Come on, point those toes. Squeeze those abs. We're pulling those shoulders off the floor. In 3, 2, 1, and plank. Let's do it. Last 30 seconds of work. Last 30 seconds of work. Roll over. Let's push the floor away from ourselves. We're squeezing our abs. We're squeezing our glutes. Our hands are directly under our shoulders. We're active. Come on, we can do this. We got 10 seconds. Keep holding. Keep holding. Nobody drops. This is our last one. Nobody drops. And time. Very nice work, everyone. Very nice work. Give yourselves a hand.